It's Saturday, 9:30 a.m. and we have another 12 incredible watches landing at kibblewatches.co.uk. If you're new here, my name is James. I run Kibble Watches here in Clerkenwell, London, and every single Saturday we put new watches on the website. Typically around 12, maybe some of the few drops coming up will be more, just because of how many watches I've got in at the moment. And I want to say a big thank you to all of you for that. Consigning, selling to us, buying from us. It is so busy right now, which is fantastic. Now, as of the time of you seeing this video, next week is going to be my son's birthday, my birthday, and another important life moments that we're going to be celebrating. So I'm not going to be in a huge amount next week, but I still will be in a couple of days shipping out orders. So do just keep that in mind, that there may be some delays the coming week. But as always, I'll do my best to let you know ahead of time if you do purchase a watch and when it will be delivered and all that kind of stuff. So thank you in advance for your understanding and patience. Now, as always, down in the description, you will see a link to every single watch you see here. That will take you over to the website. You will see timestamps, so you can skip to that specific one. Say you're just here to see this gorgeous Vacheron tank, you can skip straight to that watch and skip all my rambling. I do just want to say these videos are just an extension of all of the listing details on the website. These are sort of hands-on, a bit more informal. I have some basic details, but it's very off the cuff, which I think is why a lot of you appreciate it. But it does mean sometimes I say the wrong thing, or I mention the reference incorrectly. Always refer to the website and the listing, because that is going to be the most accurate, as well as the photos. So if I say it is box and papers and I forgot to mention it comes with a strap, and you see on the website I mentioned strap, and in the photo of the box shot there's extra straps, it comes with the extra straps. It's just I forgot to say it in this video. So always refer to the website and just use this as a extra little bit of information and hands-on and photo and video and all that kind of stuff to go along with all the other listing. Just want to make that clear. Okay, before we crack on with the watches on the table, what's on wrist? I'm wearing a watch I do not wear anywhere near enough, and I forget I own half the time, which is terrible. Let me know down in the comments if you're like that with some of your watches. But this is the Hamilton Murph 38mm. I love this watch. I had the original with the loom on the second hand, the original Murph, but I always found it a bit too big. I'm a big fan of the film. Obviously, this is from the film Interstellar. It's probably one of my favorite films, and I love this watch. I think it's fantastic. It reminds me of the film every time. And we are getting a dog soon, which is going to be called Murphy. So there you go. So a very cool watch. It's a great size. I might get the bracelet at some point. This is not the original Hamilton strap. The original strap is god awful. Swap that out as soon as. This is actually quite a nice Hirsch one that fits the buckle nicely as well. Let me know if you'd like to see a full review of this, and I can add it to the queue of other things that I intend to do at some point. Don't worry, I haven't forgot about the Islander watches. They're actually being worn and enjoyed, and we're just building up our comments and things we want to say when we get around to doing that video. But yes, maybe this will join the queue, let me know. Okay, now that that is out of the way, let's crack on with what you're here to see, and that's the watches on the table. And we're going to start with this incredible watch right in the center. You can't miss it. This is a H. Moser & C Pioneer Tourbillon in midnight blue, and this is actually limited to 50 pieces total. An incredible watch, an incredible piece of kit with a beautiful blue fume dial. As you can see, those leaf luminescent hands and those indices, but most importantly, down at 6 o'clock you have a tourbillon which is beautifully visible through that hole in the dial. Very nicely done, and I'll add a little time lapse as well of that spinning around. It's mesmerizing to watch. I can see the appeal of a tourbillon whilst it's pretty much pointless on a wristwatch, you know, for the sake of gravity. It is a beautiful thing to sort of have and see. So yeah, really excited to bring this one to the website. This is a reference 3804-1201. As we flip it to the side, you can see those sort of grill-like cutouts in the case. Very, very nice. And it's these very soft lugs as well. This is the factory finish. A lot of people are quite surprised when they see this from Moser. It isn't super sharp like we see with some Rolexes. They are softer, which is quite nice. I think it works beautifully with the design. As we flip it around, you'll see a signed screw-down crown at 3 o'clock. So this is quite a sporty tourbillon, which is something you don't see often. And then we come to this sort of 3-link H-style bracelet. Very, very nice, robust. Pin and collar system, not screw links, and it does have a very interesting hidden adjustment in the clasp itself. So the logo is a button, and you press that button, you can slide the clasp out and in on a micro adjust. Very nicely done and incredibly comfortable, and milled beautifully as you'd expect. And then flipping the watch over, you're presented with a incredible automatic tourbillon H. Moser & C caliber 804 with that Wonderful gold rotor and incredible finishing throughout, as you'd expect. And obviously skeletonized through the tourbillon cage, so you can actually see straight through it. That's what allows the light to pass through nicely and gives that incredible look overall, as you can see. This one's from December 2019 with its box and paperwork. It comes with its H. Moser and C bracelet, as you can see, and an additional couple of straps, including 2 clasp options, if I'm not mistaken. But as always, check the website listing and photos for those details. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist, 43mm by 51mm lug to lug. So it's no small watch, but it still wears incredibly well, all things considered. 14mm on the thickness, and a lot of that is in the heavily domed sapphire crystal on top of the case, and 22mm on the lugs, so endless options for swapping this one out. So go check out this incredible watch on the website today. Okay, next we're going to move on to this incredible Garrick Norfolk. This is a wonderful example. Let's take a closer look. So you have that beautiful white dial, Garrick England, proudly stated on the plaque down there, sub-seconds over at 9 o'clock, and those beautiful blued hands with that very interesting counterweight, which I'm a huge fan of. This is just a wonderful example and fresh from a service with Garrick as well. So as I say, this is the Norfolk model, and it is a wonderful example. Case is super crisp and sharp and really nice. Signed Garrick crown at 3 o'clock, and as we flip it over, you will see a manually wound modified Unitas 6497 with that incredible finishing. And this is actually a special order because this movement was requested instead of the basic movement that it comes with, which is also an incredible movement, but this is a slightly different one. So very cool indeed. It comes paired on its original Garrick strap, as you can see, with its signed buckle, and I believe it has an extra strap in the box as well. And this one's from December 2016 with its box and paperwork. If you're after something British and truly sort of made in Britain, this is definitely a brand to consider. They're not particularly cheap, but this one, pre-owned, I think is a fantastic offer, so I would not sleep on this one. As I say, fresh from a service with Garrick as well, which is always great. Here it is on my 7-inch wrist. This strap is brand new and very stiff, so it does need wearing in. I would say, personally, I'm not a huge fan of their straps. I think swapping that out for something else would be great, but it goes to show that pretty much all of the money goes into the watches itself as opposed to the straps and the box and all those kind of things, which I'm not opposed to because it is an incredible watch. So here we go, 42mm by 50.5mm lug to lug, 13mm on the thickness and 22mm on the lug width. So there are endless options, watch gecko, strap tailor, many others where you could get a really cool bespoke strap for this one, swap it out onto that. So go check it out on the website today. Next up, we have a fantastic Seiko limited edition. This is the Seiko Prospex Diver limited edition 62 MAS homage in 40mm. This is the reference SLA017, limited to 2,000 pieces total with a wonderful grey dial and those iconic hands and indices which we all recognize for the original 62 MAS, with a black ceramic bezel as well. This is a very good reinterpretation of the watch, but brought up to modern standards with modern technology and also modern size at 40mm. So it's not too big, but it's also not small. It's that perfect middle point for those of you with a slightly bigger wrist and don't want something on the smaller side. As we take a look at the case, you can see you've got that classic 62 MAS case, polishing along the sides, brushing along the top, and a big signed Seiko screw-down crown at 3 o'clock, exactly like the original really, with that profile. Very nicely done. We then have a 3-link bracelet, which is nice to see, with pin and collar systems and adjustment on the clasp as well to make sizing really nice and easy, and a milled clasp. So yes, an absolute workhorse and piece of equipment with a dive extension hidden away at the opposite end of the clasp where you typically see them. Then we come to the case back, again very authentically done based on the original with the dolphin there, and the way it is engraved on there is very reminiscent of that. You can see the limited edition number of 2,000 pieces total. As I say, this is a reference SLA 017, and being away inside is the automatic Seiko caliber 8L35, so it's definitely on the higher grade, closer to the Grand Seiko movements. This one's actually from September 2017 with its box and paperwork ready to go at a fantastic price. So here it is on my 7-inch wrist. You can see it is 40mm by 47.5mm lug to lug, really nice and compact. Seiko know how to do wrist ergonomics. 14mm on the thickness, and again quite a bit of that is in that slightly domed crystal, and then we have 19mm on the lugs with drilled lug holes in the side of the case to make strap changing super easy. Goes without saying, the bracelet is fantastic and it looks great, completely transforms the look of the watch. Throw it on a black Tropic rubber strap and you've got something that's going to look like the vintage pretty much completely. So go check it out on the website today. Now on to a really cool Eterna bronze watch. This is the Eterna Contiki Bronze Diver 44mm limited edition with that incredible grainy blue dial, as you can see, and you've got that Contiki dial with the indices super big and bold, and those sword hands as well, with the Eterna logo actually placed inside the loom at 12 o'clock with those 5 balls, which is reminiscent of the ball bearing system, which I believe Eterna created, if I'm getting my history correct there, but as always, double check with the website. We've got a matte blue bezel with that sort of matching patina loom in the 12 o'clock indice. And then as we take a look at the case, you can see this is bronze, so it will patina, it will age, which is really cool. It has right now a very dark gold look. Definitely a bronze tone, that's for sure, with those sloping lugs and a big crown, which is also screwed down at 3 o'clock, as you'd expect, and signed with the 5 balls on there as well, as you'd expect. As we flip it over, a exhibition case back, and the case back itself is in steel, so you haven't got to worry about getting a green wrist with this one, as a lot of you, or maybe not, will know with bronze. If bronze is direct, has direct contact on the skin and you're sweating, it can leave a green stain which will wipe off, but again, just sort of keep in mind. I'm not going to bore you with the reference to this one, you can go see it on the website, but it is limited to 300 pieces total, and inside is the automatic ETA caliber EMC 3902A, which is actually a in-house movement, as you can probably tell, because it doesn't quite look like anything else. Really nicely done, simple finishing, simple rotor, but again, nicely done, and at this kind of price, you cannot go wrong. This one's from February 2024 with its box and paperwork, with its original brown leather strap and its signed bronze buckle as well, so nicely done. Here it is on my 7-inch wrist, so at 44mm by 52mm, it is certainly no small watch, but as always with this kind of shorter lug width, lug to lug, sorry, at 52, it's not too crazy. It can definitely be pulled off on my sort of wrist and probably even a bit smaller. Obviously larger is going to be completely fine. 14mm on the thickness and 22mm on the lugs. Endless options for this one. It's a really great watch if you're after a automatic in-house Swiss diver that's bronze, that offers something a little bit different. I think this rivals the Tudor Black Bay bronze in blue, the Buccara blue I believe it is. I think this rivals it easily and is a great option, a hell of a lot less. So go check this one out on the website today. Now for a really cool Oleg and Vaj, this is the OWM-110AS. 39.5mm limited edition with that wonderful grey tone on the dial and the white on the indices with the green loom on the minute hand as well as the triangle at 12 o'clock. And that green goes onto the compass bezel, which is friction fit, so it rotates either way. And it's just a wonderful design with that pointer second-hand date at 6 o'clock. And again, those little pops of green throughout, very, very nicely done. And as always, Oleg and Vaj, I think, are massively underrated for their price. As we take a look at the case, you've got an all brush finish, which is very nicely finished indeed with that sort of straight lug system, but very short. And as we flip it over to the side where the crown is, you'll actually see the limited edition number is stated in the crown, which is quite unusual. Limited to 56 pieces total, and this is number 39, as you can see right there. As we flip it over, a nice bold screw down case back with everything stated proudly on the back, as you can see, and inside is an automatic Soprod caliber P092. This one's from January 2025 with its box and paperwork paired on its really cool strap. Give the strap a little read on the website. Sign buckle as well, 1956 stated there, which is the year of the brand coming about, which is why this is limited to 56 pieces total. So a very limited run indeed. Here it is on my 7-inch wrist. This strap is super cool and super comfortable. 39.5mm by 48mm lug to lug, so it wears really nicely. 13mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs with drilled lug holes. So if you're not a fan of this strap for whatever reason, you can swap it out easily. But I think it's quite surprising how comfortable and how good this strap looks. So be sure to go check it out on the website today. Again, under £1,000, you cannot go wrong with this. Okay, now on to my favorite on the table. It will probably come as no surprise. That is this incredible and gorgeous gorgeous Vacheron Constantine. So let's take a closer look. This is a Vacheron Constantine tank, as we're calling it, because of obviously the K-shape, in 18 karat yellow gold with a wonderful gold tone or champagne tone dial, which has an ever so slight texture to it. It is beautifully done. Vacheron Constantine Genève stated at 12 o'clock with the Vacheron motif right there. Beautifully done indices and sword, very thin sword hands as well. So again, very elegant, especially on the wrist, which we'll get to in a minute. As we sort of take a look around the watch, you can see very thin profile, 18 karat gold, and polish along the sides and top as well. And then we flip it over, you can see a brushed case back. It has obviously got some scratches, but this watch is from the 70s, so that's to be expected. Hallmarks nicely visible, and it actually has a screw at the 6 o'clock point in the case, which is how you sort of take the watch apart. It's actually sort of screwed together, so not just a snap-on. So it's very nicely done. This is a reference 33201, and inside is a manually wound Vacheron Constantine caliber 1003, a beautifully finished movement. Be sure to see the extra photos on the additional photos in the website. First image, bottom right hand corner, it says view additional images. Click there, it'll take you over to Google Drive, and all of those extra photos are in there, and that's the case for every single watch we sell. This one is from the circa 1970s, and it does also come with a wonderful bespoke Jean Rousseau strap, which is on the shorter side, and it only has 2 holes in it currently, so you would have to punch a hole in it to get the fit you wish. And it does come with a original 18 karat yellow gold Vacheron buckle, where the enamel black has started to fade away a little bit. It's not uncommon to see that, but a wonderful example and a wonderful watch overall, especially for the price. Here it is on my 7-inch wrist. Again, this watch just shines even further at 23mm by 28mm lug to lug. So really good proportions, perfect for sort of all wrist sizes in my opinion. 4mm on the thickness. I can't stress how thin that is. 4mm. Most straps come up thicker than 4mm, and 19mm on the lug. So you could easily swap this out for something else if you are interested. Something to keep in mind: it does have male, female lugs. What that means is there are gold bars attached to the case, and the spring bar used has a sleeve that goes over the outside of it. Hopefully I'm describing that correctly. So if you're not familiar with changing these, do not change it yourself. Take it to a watchmaker who has seen the male-female system of the spring bars, or hooded spring bars, or whatever people want to call them. There's loads of different names, but yeah, just be careful with it, because what you don't want to do is break anything. Or bring it back to us with the strap and we can get it swapped for you. So go check it out on the website today. Now over to another British brand. We've got a few on the table today actually. This is the Studio Underdog, as you can see. A really wonderful example of the O2 series in midnight sort of grey, black, or whatever you want to call it. It's a really, really cool thing. This Series 2 wasn't actually a favourite of mine. The Series 1 and the Series 3 I've been a big fan of, and I've owned multiple and do own multiple. This one for some reason just didn't get my attention immediately. However, having had a few in stock now, I can say they are fantastic. You've got the screws on the dial at 3 and 9, and then you've got these luminescent indices and luminescent hands, which are sitting on sort of like a glass disc, and it creates this incredible depth that you don't really get on many watches, and it just, yeah, it's really, really interesting, especially with that dome sapphire over the top as well. Very nicely done. I still prefer the Series 1 and Series 3 personally, but I definitely see the appeal of this one. I've had the full lume dial, but I actually think I prefer the more simplistic grey dial, which again isn't very Studio Underdog typically, but I think this is quite a nice example. So as I say, this is the midnight model. As we take a look around the side of the case, you've got brushed sides with brushed tops of the lugs, a nice polished bezel, and a signed crown at 3 o'clock. And as we flip it over, a wonderful motif on the case back of a jellyfish, and really nicely decorated and engraved and screwed down with a manually wound Sellita caliber SW210-1. This watch is from the circa 2020s with its box and paperwork. For some reason, Studio Underdog don't sign the paperwork with a date, so you don't know exactly when it was sold unless you have an original receipt. And it does compared, you have to excuse the noise, Clerkenwell is always so damn busy and loud. It does compared on its original two-stitch Studio Underdog and strap tailor strap. So really nice high quality strap for the price point with a signed buckle, as you can see. Here it is on my 7-inch wrist at 37mm by 46mm lug to lug. It wears perfectly. 12mm on the thickness and 18mm on the lugs with quick release and drilled lug holes. So you've got no problem getting this strap out, that's for sure. So go check this one out on the website today. Now over to a Tudor Black Bay P01, which definitely isn't everyone's taste, and I have slowly really grown to it. Very slowly, but I now really like it. This, as I say, is the Black Bay P01, so let's take a closer look. You've got that iconic Black Bay dial, the snowflake hands, round applied loom dots, which is very sort of old school maxi style, red font right there for the depth, date at 3 o'clock, and then we come on to the case, which is obviously the star of the show right here. So you have this very interesting lug design, or case design I should say, where the top parts, the hoods if you will, snap back and snap forward, locking the bezel in place. When you move the 12 o'clock one back and it opens it up, you can then rotate the bezel whichever way you want. As soon as you close it down, it locks the bezel in place. Very, very cool and interesting design. Something you've seen on some watches, but this is definitely a unique system in the way it does it. Now, as far as I'm aware, you can actually remove the hood parts completely and just have it as without those via the pins there. So do sort of check that out if you are interested, but you don't want this whole crazy design, which I can understand it won't be for everyone. Take a look at the side profile, really nice finishing. It's that brushing throughout, and the lug sort of completely hinged down because the actual part that the strap attaches to is almost like an extra link, and it folds completely. So whilst it's a big watch and it's a long watch, it does hug the wrist very well. The crown is a signed screw down crown at 4 o'clock. And then we come on to the case back, which is a signed screw down case back, and inside is the automatic Tudor caliber MT5612, and this is the reference 70150. This one's from November 2019 with its box and paperwork. It does come paired on its original strap, which is this sort of hybrid leather rubber strap with a deploying buckle, and it also comes with a long Christopher Ward strap, which will fit this as well. So if this doesn't fit your wrist, you've got a longer option there, and it's a very nice Christopher Ward strap to boot. So here we go. On my 7-inch wrist, you can see 42mm by 55mm lug to lug. It's a big watch, but it wears surprisingly well because of how articulated those lugs become with that extension right there. It is 14mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs. So be sure to check this one out on the website today. It's a funky watch. It's surprisingly affordable for a Tudor, especially compared to retail. And I don't think it's going to be in production long, if not already discontinued actually, I'm not too sure. And I think it's going to be one of those ones in the future we go, I can't believe they did that. So yeah, go check it out on the website today. Okay, the final British watch on the table today, and this is a Fairer. A lot of you will be familiar with this brand. I have many in stock and I always seem to get them in. They're fantastic. This is the Fairer Seagrave Mark I mechanical chronograph in 39mm. So this is the first generation of the Seagrave chronograph. I believe they still make it today, but in a slightly different configuration. This has a really nice black dial, those pops of colour that we recognise for Fairer. This one having the green and the orange, as you can see. Date nicely placed at 6 o'clock, very discreetly. Running seconds at 3 o'clock, and your 30-minute totalizer for the chronograph at 9 o'clock, nicely done. And then we take a look at the case. You've got this sort of sculpted side profile which slants in slightly, really beautifully done with those chamfers which are very nicely finished, and a nice bold bezel as well. Then we have the pushers over at 2 and 4 o'clock. Traditional chronographs start and stop with the 2 o'clock pusher and reset with the 4 o'clock pusher. And this has the full bronze Fairer crown, which is something they used to do. They've stopped doing the full bronze crown and now just do a bronze inlay in a steel crown, because obviously bronze does get a bit softer over time, and something you're using regularly. It does mean eventually, after many, many years of use, it will probably have to be replaced, but it's not the end of the world at the end of the day. Crowns get replaced quite often in services anyway. As we flip it over, you'll see an exhibition case back right there, which is screwed down with a very nice gold tone customized rotor. And this is the automatic ETA 2894-2 Elaboré, or Elaboror, I'm not too sure how you pronounce that, but it basically means it's the higher grade of the ETA movement, high finishing and higher levels of regulation, which is great to see, especially at this price point. It does come with its original strap and buckle, as you can see, and is from November 2018 with its box and paperwork. Here it is on my 7-inch wrist, 39mm by 46mm lug to lug, and only 12.5mm on the thickness, which for a chronograph of this style, those are very good proportions, and surprisingly on the smaller side from what we typically see, so it wears great. 20mm on the lugs, and those are quick release, and Fera have plenty of great options as well, so be sure to check them out. But go check this watch out on the website today. Again, under £1,000 for a mechanical chronograph from a British brand with quite an interesting story and design as well, so go check it out. Now onto a brand that is often known for its pens, fragrance, things like that. This is Montblanc. Oh, and leather, don't forget some of their leather. This is the Montblanc Time Walker Automatic 42mm with that wonderful white silver dial and those very cool, almost like Art Deco-ish numerals, with the baton indices throughout as well. Really nicely done, simple hands, and date tucked away at 6 o'clock with Montblanc and automatic written there and an outer minute track. You can't get much more simple than this, but it's very, very nicely done. As we take a look at the case, you can actually see completely sculpted lugs with sort of custom style on the bars there as well. Very nicely done. Polishing throughout and a big sign crown at 3 o'clock with that bulbous sort of cabochon, which has actually got the Montblanc logo. A lot of people will be familiar with that on the pens and the fragrance, as I say. As we flip it over, you can actually see an exhibition case back right there. These are Swiss made, and inside is the automatic Montblanc caliber MB2409, which is essentially an ETA or a Solita, I believe, but very nicely done. And nicely decorated with a custom rotor. You know, these aren't just a off-the-shelf sort of watch that they make. These are actually produced for, like, by the brand for the brand, as opposed to just outsourcing the work, if you get what I mean. This one's from February 2018 with its box and paperwork, and it does compare on its original strap with its wide polished buckle, which is also sculpted. It's very, very nice indeed and matches the case. You know, there's clearly some thought that's gone into this one. 42mm by 49mm lug to lug. It's certainly on the bigger side, especially for the design, but it wears quite nicely. 10.5mm on the thickness and 22mm on the lugs. So yeah, be sure to check this one out on the website. Again, well under £1,000. You're getting something quite unique, quite different, and still a serious piece of kit on the wrist, so go check it out. Now onto a brand you really don't see too often, and I don't get offered very often either. I can't get my words out today. This is the Ball Fireman Racer 40mm automatic with that really cool design, as you can see. So these use sort of like tube style on the luminescence, and you've got those pops of red throughout with the ball counter seconds with the logo there. Very, very nicely done. 12, 6 and 9 in red, and the outer minute track with the numbers also in red. Date at 3 o'clock with a cyclops over the crystal and the polished bezel as well. And you can see from the top you've got these really cool sculpted lugs, which just look fantastic. As we flip it to the side, you can see a lot of polishing and brushing, and then we've got a signed screw down crown at 3 o'clock, and this comes on its interesting brushed and polished bracelet, almost a H design but not quite. You got that polishing through the center, but it doesn't go all the way through. Again, very nicely done. You have a butterfly style folding clasp, where the logo conceals itself in there. Again, very nicely done. It does mean you have to close one side first and then the other, so you're not sort of trying to close it on the logo. And then you can see the screw down case back right there with a train proudly stated on the case back. Again, interesting history with this brand, so be sure to read up on it on our website. I'm not going to bore you with the reference to this one. It's incredibly long, but inside is the automatic ball caliber RR1103, which is a ETA 2824-2. This one's from November 2016 with its box, paperwork, and the original bracelet, as you can see. Here it is on my 7-inch wrist, 40mm by 48mm lug to lug, 11.5mm on the thickness, and 20mm on the lug, so you could totally swap this out for a really cool black strap with red stitching or something like that. That would really pop, and I think, again, for the money, you can't go wrong with one of these, so go check it out on the website today. And last but certainly not least, a really wonderful watch from a German brand. This is Mule Glasuter. This is the 29ER automatic in 36.5mm. Really wonderful size with that lovely black dial, polished indices and hands, and that subtle, or not so subtle, pop of red of just the second hand, and 60 in the minute track on the sort of inner Reholt ring. Beautifully done and very simple. Date at 8 o'clock, and then we come to the case. You can see you've got this really nice round case with those lugs poking off the sides, brushing and polishing throughout the sides. It's almost like a three-piece case, as you can see. Really nicely designed, and a signed screw down crown at 3 o'clock. as well. As we flip the watch over, you can see an exhibition case back right there, and beating away inside is the automatic Sellita SW200 modified rotor right there, and again it's all screwed down, very nicely done. This watch is from November 2024 with its box and paperwork paired on its original strap with its signed buckle. And here it is on my 7-inch wrist, really great proportions at 36.5mm by 42mm lug to lug, wears nice and compact and would look great on pretty much any wrist size. 10mm on the thickness and a nice 18mm on the lugs, which you don't see too often on modern watches, so you could have endless options for straps for this one, so go check it out on the website today. So there you have it, 12 incredible watches, a real mixed bag like we aim to achieve every single week. Next week is going to be exactly the same with a serious mix of stuff, with some super affordable stuff as well, so keep an eye out for that. Let me know down in the comments, what was your favorite from this week's drop? Obviously the Moser is incredible, there's no denying that. The Garrick is awesome. Every single watch here has its points, but for me personally, I think my favorite has to be the Vacheron tank. It's just beautiful, and for the price at about 3.5 grand, you cannot go wrong getting yourself a vintage mechanical 18 karat gold Vacheron. It just blows my mind the prices that these are at. And I do think eventually, as people are starting to really warm up to smaller watches, stuff like this is just going to keep getting more and more popular, more and more in demand, and examples like this are just going to get harder and harder to find. So thank you all very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again next Saturday. Take care.